hi, hello, and welcome to the Afterparty, where our characters are in prison, but we are free to be. Join the party hosts for you and me.
I mean, yeah,
Fuck.
that's true.
Did that just come to your brain?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was impressive.
Every day, Brandon, I sing little songs to Eric, and about half the time they rhyme, and the other half it's a big stretch. So I'm staying ready so I don't have to get ready. You know, that's the Silver McLoughlin way. Hi, how's everyone going?
I'm concerned that Eric hasn't spoken yet. That's what I'm concerned about.
I'm just letting my wife cook. Let my wife cook.
Yeah.
Thanks, honey. But not in like a trad
I was
way.
gonna say.
In like a I love my content making wife way.
My wife can cook wherever she wants. The
Yeah.
kitchen,
Let my wife stay in the kitchen.
microphone.
Let my wife stay in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I did not say that. That's not what I said.
My wife is allowed to stay in the kitchen if it's her choice. That's what feminism is.
It's true.
My wife can cook wherever she wants, and that can be in her personal kitchen. It can be in her 1950s kitchen. It can be in front of a microphone. She can cook wherever she wants.
Thank you so much, honey. Eric, how are you feeling about us finally being in the underwater prison? Something that was teased and mentioned way back in the Bullseye games.
Good.
Did you?
Expand on that.
It's tough in a relationship when only one of you cooks.
What?
The one is Eric. The one
Fucking
is Eric.
got
I'm joking. I'm
him.
joking.
He's got to at least do the dishes then. That's all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
no,
I do the dishes, aka spreadsheets, while Eric cooks.
I only microwave my takes.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Back in the Bullseye games, did you make that up on the spot? Or like, I know you don't like plan ahead that far, right?
Mhm.
But like, was it a thing, like a combination of words that just came to your brain? Or was that combination of words something that you were excited about previously?
Yeah, that's a good question. If I remember correctly, I do think it just kind of came to me. I did think that Kid Cervantes had some sort of depth to him.
Nice.
I didn't know what it was by that point, and I figured it was kind of something that we'd get back around to and see how it all shook out. So I'm like, well, I think that must have happened because I didn't think there was going to be the final duel while everything's crumbling around you sort of thing.
Who did?
And I had the duel mechanics together, but I also didn't think that Kid Cervantes would win necessarily. But then I'm like, oh, Kid Cervantes is high-powered. Of course he would. So I
Have
had
you
to
met
figure
him,
out
Eric?
what the gambit was to get for you to get the key in the first place. So yeah, this is something that, you know, I surprise myself sometimes just as much as plan for stuff. And it's more like leaving a little treat, leaving a little coda for me to come back to.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that's also really interesting because theoretically, if Troy had won that duel, we could have had all 4 keys, or at least like known the location of all 4 keys by the beginning of this past arc.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe even earlier, if the key with the gaze could have intersected with your path earlier. Entirely possible.
I wonder what he was doing before then.
We'll never know what it's like to win because we are all now imprisoned. There is a blackberry dragon who comes out twice a day, and our closest ally and his siblings can't talk.
It does
that
make
bad?
things more difficult in gaining information.
Just a little. Just a
It's
little.
rough. So really, it's our fault that we've gone, 30. Like you're saying that this campaign could have been like 12 episodes long.
Yeah. I was trying to do an anthology thing. We're doing Scooby-Doo next.
No.
So I don't know why this took so long.
Have you heard of Kids on Brooms, Eric?
Fuck off. Yes, I have. Yes, I have heard of it. But yeah, I didn't know there was going to be this kind of like world government turn, and I'm kind of excited
No one expects the world government.
that we're able to do this after playing Model Our Nations. So that was really fun. Kind of in these episodes were the reverberations of that game with like the key retrieval program, the setup of what the compost facility could be, the amount of power and might and I guess money and time that's invested in such a place kind of came together because we established that these are projects that can be funneled from whatever government's budget's doing whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, before we get to this labyrinthine underwater prison, some of which we haven't even seen yet, I have to imagine, we did, of course, have to leave the meeting, follow Kid's path of destruction, scoop some goop in the meantime, and get
Scoop the goop.
chased by Lucky Edie. So many great questions. Firstly, hot and fresh from the question surgeon, Michelle Spurgeon. Is there a whale swimming around to make ambergris? Are water creatures, plant or insect folks? Well, I've never heard of a fish, so I don't really know where that leads
I don't
us.
know what a fish is. I don't think they exist.
A whale's not a fish, so
Maybe it's like,
have we heard of whales?
what if it's a whale that's made out of amber with like an ancient mosquito inside?
Ooh.
Very
Like it's
possible.
Jurassic
I like
Park mosquito inside of big whale?
Mhm.
Like a wasp in the fig situation?
Yes.
Like a mosquito
Ooh.
has to die to animate the amber whale?
Oh yeah, I do like that. Yeah, no, they're big fig whales that has a wasp piloting the whole thing, and it spoots out amber. Yeah, I like that.
You're totally right. There's no way a creature could be as big as a whale without having a lethal mosquito in the driver's seat piloting it like a mecha.
Yeah, 100%.
Like Ratatouille.
That's exactly right, Julia. That's exactly
Let the whale cook.
Let the whale cook.
Pacific Rim meets Ratatouille.
right. You know there's some AO3 crossover about that.
There's 2 mosquitoes who are drift compatible inside this whale's brain.
Yeah, and as long as they're in love, or maybe until they fall in love, the whale's very powerful.
Yeah.
It can be any kind of love. It can be platonic love. It can be romantic love. Whatever they want.
100%.
Charlie from Always Sunny in Philadelphia is there.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the half-dead guy from Doctor Who. Eric, you're exactly right.
I only saw Pacific Rim 2, and Amanda tried to fill me in from all of the AO3 stories she had read about Pacific Rim 1.
Just
And
like Kingsman.
So
the exact same thing happened
the
with
exact same
Kingsman.
thing. So the whole time Amanda's like, that guy's important. I'm like, what? And it turns out he was.
Yeah.
He had Charlie had a very, very much larger role in the second Pacific Rim than he did in the first one. And I'm like, why do I care? He just seems like a bad guy.
I want to see the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode about Charlie becoming cast in Pacific Rim.
Getting a bunch of PhDs. Yeah.
Well, no, like he's an actor in Philly,
No, I think
so
he
it's
should get a
like,
bunch
you
of
know.
PhDs, Brandon.
That guy, speaking of that and Charlie, there's actually a movie that the actor made and directed and produced that's just like a modern Hollywood remake of Being There. And it's bad. He called in so many
didn't know that.
favors for casting, and it's just like, this mute Flowers for Algernon, man, kind of gets whipped up into Hollywood. I'm like, that is the least interesting version of Being There, is him now being a Hollywood star. Like, we get it. We've watched all those movies before.
Yeah.
I'm also disappointed to report that there are only 263 fanfics in the Ratatouille fandom on Archive of Our Own.
That
So
feels right.
I think Rat Hive, get on it.
Does Gen Z
Rat
know about
Hive.
AO3, or do they write their fanfic somewhere else?
I think they might just write it on Tumblr.
Yeah.
No, I think,
possible.
I don't know. Who can say?
It feels like AO3 is increasingly becoming like for elder millennials.
It probably is.
What's the French version of AO3? How do you say A and O in French?
AO3, Mamma Mia. Wait a hold
That's
on. Wait a
Italian.
second.
God damn it!
Damn it.
Eric, returning to business, the question surgeon would like to know, how long do we think or know that Edie has been working with the Diamond Knot?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably the entire time.
Yeah, I was going to say probably from the beginning, right? Like she's always kind of been like that. And so I imagine she's been involved for as long as we've known her as a character.
The whole time, I remember writing her description, like her character description, and she led in by talking about NDAs.
Yeah, exactly.
all this treasure she got, and she couldn't talk about it because of NDAs. And I said something that was piratey that what NDAs stood for. So it's literally the entire time. I would say so.
Yeah, it really explains why she was so curious and eager to know about our movements.
hmm And then she tried to play it off like, oh, I was just trying to be your friend the whole time. I'm like, bitch, no, you weren't.
Makes me feel great.
You guys were frenemies the entire time. I didn't know she was doing this, but it was a real like, I want to flex on you, and the only way I can brag is if you tell me stuff too, because then it makes me look like a little bit less of a douche.
Mhm.
So the fact that you didn't want to talk was like, well, now I'm just gonna do this anyway. And I think that that being related to like her doing spying for the world government. Hey, everyone in your life who brags about the stuff they're doing is actually working for the world government. So you're allowed to be
That's true.
suspicious.
That's a great point.
That's true. Yeah.
Dr. Spurgeon also points out inadvertently that the Diamond Knot shares initials with Donkey Kong, Eric's favorite Super Smash character, and the guy he mainlines in all.
Main lines. Get that Donkey Kong
Right
in my
in there.
veins.
I want to eat all that banana, my friend.
Coincidence? I'll let you decide.
I mean, we pointed that out in the episode.
Yeah, I pointed that out. Yeah.
Oh, shit. That's right.
That's all right.
It was the DK
Yeah.
crew.
And we're
Yes,
like, oh,
the
it's the
Diamond Knot crew.
Captain Donkey and his first mate, Diddy.
I was too
Mhm.
busy remembering they're like, oh, this would be a really cool place to put the key retrieval team into it. And then Brandon's like, what if it was Diddy?
Yeah,
What if it
yeah.
was Diddy Kong?
I was too busy
Mhm.
to think that I put DK into my campaign.
Sure.
Yeah, there was a whole rap that you guys cut that I wasn't able to put in.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Can't cut the whole rap.
I spent 20 minutes working on that rap.
Eric, if people sign up to the top tier of our Patreon, could they get a DK style rap from you in lieu of the custom one shot with all four of us? Are you open to offering that?
For what? Like for them and their friends, or for the
A video we send that they will
You're
have.
gonna put it on iTunes for them.
Yeah, sure, I'll do that.
Hell yeah!
That
You
sounds
heard it
great.
here first, folks.
Cool.
Yeah.
It would have been so funny if Eric had been like, "Oh my god, it does spell DK crew. I didn't know." Hee hee. And then we go on board and it's just crates and crates full of bananas on the ship.
It's not too late.
Got
for
him.
me.
For this stuff, I did use a table of stuff to see what happens.
Yeah.
So I didn't know necessarily that this was going to happen. Actually, no, I didn't. I didn't write it down. I'm like, oh, this would just be a good opportunity for this to happen. So do you guys know what was going on during that episode? Do you have any inkling that, like, Lucky Edie was following you in any sort of capacity?
I don't think so. Not until you kind of announced it with our roles. But
Yeah.
I did get the fact that you had some sort of
Event
table
table.
in order to create the things that we were running into while following Kid.
Yeah, they were not all going to be amber for the taking. That's for sure.
Everything on this table was interesting / fun, but a lot of them, the idea was like, do you stop or do you not? And I think that's because I had a secret Lucky Edie was following you thing going at the same time. Also, I made you roll perception checks, and you did not see the Lucky Edie was following you as well.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, you did.
so that was certainly fun.
What were the other things that we could have run into besides Scoop the Goop and the Diamond Knot Retrieval team crew?
Yeah, so I have you guys rolled the first 3. One was key checkpoint up on some sandbars. That
Mhm.
was what that last one was. Tugboats pulling wreckage have cast up on some rocks. Check it out or keep going. That was the one you did. And then a lump of gray goo floats by. If collected, it proves to be the precious ambergris. That was the first one you did. Number 4, a massive spire of stone erupts from the ocean. There appears to be someone at the top looking down in your vessel. Stay and check it out or go.
Wait, who would have been there?
Great question.
I want to know. Tell me.
There's no world in which that happens, and I don't immediately want to go investigate.
No, I
it.
know.
That is
Oh,
I
incredible.
yeah.
think it would have just been like a weird hermit who
Mm.
would have just burned time with you. Like just
Hell
asked
yeah.
you questions about what you were doing there and what your whole thing was.
Be like, what are we
Brutal.
doing here? Stop it.
There is no burning time when it's a weird hermit. You get to hang out with a weird hermit. It's the best time.
And
you've
like
ever
Lucky
spent.
Edie would have like pulled up. She would have been like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
We would have like recruited the hermit to our crew, walked by down the stairs, been like, "Hey, you'll bunk in with Dr. Tropicana, don't worry." And then Edie's there, and we're like, "Shit."
Fuck.
I'm not sharing a room with this smelly man. I'm not doing this.
And then the hermit murders Edie for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, fair.
Ideal.
The hermit knows the 5-finger strike and murders Lucky Edie.
Cool.
Number 5, an old woman appears on deck. She says a toll must be paid to pass beyond this point and seems to have the power to enforce it.
Oh
Holy
shit.
shit,
Cool.
that would have been cool.
She would have been
shit.
Cammy's new best friend.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That would have been, you would just need to figure out what that toll was. And then 6, a flock of birds appears to be circling bits of driftwood. Upon closer inspection, there is blood in the water and the birds are glowing faintly red. There might be something valuable still floating around if you're willing to risk it.
We're always willing to risk it.
I want to know what the value would have been.
Yeah.
That's dark.
So good.
It would have been more goop, Julia.
Really? More goop? We had
Lots
2
of goop.
opportunities for goop?
Yeah, 2 goop.
Damn.
They're called goopertunities.
Goopertunities. You're right. Gwyneth Paltrow presents Goopertunities.
That's probably what their hiring page is called. Don't put that out there.
Probably.
Yeah, don't put that out there.
Eric, was there one that you hoped we land on? Like you use tables so often to like help us be part of what's happening to us, which I absolutely love. But do you ever feel like, shucks, that we either didn't get certain ones or excited that we do?
No, not necessarily. I think that the key checkpoint coming up on Sandbars was kind of perfect for the way that everything was flowing. I really just like that, how the table kind of went along with something that was thematically cool.
Yeah.
I assume that one was sort of like the end goal regardless.
No. It was just 3 events while Lucky Edie was hunting you down.
I think it just ended up being really perfect that we pulled up to that as Lucky Edie caught up with us as well. So it really worked thematically.
Yeah, I'm like wondering what would have happened if, like, you know, she had her grappling hook stuck into your boat and then an old woman appears on deck with magical powers.
It would have been like
crazy.
Too many things happening.
I know, that would have been absolutely wild. So,
that would have been tight.
You know, thematically, the first one was definitely the most, like, made the most sense, but all the other ones could have been crazy. Yeah. Like, imagine she grapples your boat and then a bunch of glowing, bloodthirsty birds show up. Like, that also
Hell
We would have fed her to the birds.
Or it would have. The birds would have feasted on all of you for sure.
Incredible. Speaking of Lucky Edie, the postmaster, library chick, would like to know, Julia, how good did it feel to mess with Lucky Edie's memory?
I was so nervous. Like, I don't know. I don't think it made it onto the edit, but at one point I said, I think you can watch my heart beating out of my chest in the video version that we released there. Like, I was so anxious because I was like, if this fucks up, we're so screwed. It's not even funny.
Mm-hmm. I think you said at the end of the episode after we finished.
Yeah, I was extremely anxious, and I had 2 kind of plans going into that, which was like, one, if we had been checked at the checkpoint by like multiple people, and the other if it was just Lucky Edie, which is what ended up happening. And it was just stress.
The dice rolled in our favor.
Yeah.
They did.
I really like the moment to get Lucky Edie like monologuing for a second as she's like really feels like she has you over a barrel, which is the only time she would have really gotten in your face like that. And you know, there's always the moment where the villain like says something and you're like, do they have a point? I'm not sure. Do they have a point? Do I feel bad for this out of context NPC? Like, that kind of, wow, she feels really disrespected to the fact that you guys weren't friends. Even though this is so from her own twisted point of view. It was fun being able to do that. And being able to set the stakes of like, okay, this is a really good idea. You have advantage and everything. But if you fail, I got you. Like, this is what I'm telling you what's going to happen. We're not rolling for initiative. We're not fighting it out. This is what's going to happen if you lose.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was really fun to do.
Damn, Eric, your stakes too high. Your storytelling too good. They're going to come after you, bro.
They're going to get your ass, bro.
They're going to get you.
You're DMing too hot. They'll kill you.
They'll kill you, man.
How was it for you guys, kind of knowing that this whole situation was down to a dice roll based on a spell that I was casting?
I mean, that was our best shot by far, you know? Like,
yeah.
I think in many other situations, we would have gone with like a less like we would have optimized for better downside where we do the thing where if it doesn't work, we're not like totally fucked. But in this situation, there was no better plan. Like, the other plan was Troy sits on the key mold and like hopes no one notices. Like it truly.
Troy stretches really wide and says, "Oh, nothing back here."
Yeah, truly. Put it in some beans and hope she doesn't like stick her hand in there because I have proficiency in barrels. So yeah, there was absolutely no other alternative in my mind. And like, if we fail together and we figure out how to murder her and get away.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my whole thing is I like to do the most interesting, chaotic thing possible, so I was all for it.
What?
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 Are you sure?
Whomst?
Whoops.
It definitely was a Hail Mary, I guess, or at least like you need to make a bold action in order to get out of a very bad situation.
Yeah.
You know, that happens in a lot of other games I'm thinking about Blades in the Dark, where it's like the situation tenor is laid out, and then you want to like, what is the tenor of the action you're going to do? And according to how risky everything is, it's going to be difficult, but also pay off really high.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where I figured that out, especially because you had it all set up that you had advantage with that as well. But like, man, she really got you guys. Like, she was coming on your ass. She was grappled onto your ship. She led directly into a traffic stop run by the world government that she already works for, so they all like her. So they obviously the thing that led her to downfall. Well, I guess it could have been one way or another. Like, what would you have done if just some grunts got on your ship and like, hey, where's your key? Give me your key. Give me your key.
I did have a spell for that in case that was the situation. Like, if it had been the checkpoint. There's a spell called Mass Suggestion that is at the same level as Modify Memory. And I would have attempted that probably.
Yeah, that would have been
I have
tough.
a spell called Murder Grunts and Hide the Bodies.
Ooh, fun.
Man with bombs. How would you have assassin style, hitman style taken out the grunts?
He has a spell called...
It's too dark. It's too dark. Never mind.
I take the bomb, I shove it in the guy's mouth. It explodes
That's
inside.
what I was gonna say.
No one knows, no one sees.
As a non-magic user, that is how it feels whenever Julia reveals a new spell. I'm like, oh, great, Julia's the get out of this situation spell. Yeah.
Well, that's also what I was thinking, where, like, if this had happened even, like, 2 or 3 episodes before, I would not have been able to do this because it was a spell that I got with our most recent level up.
And if it happened an episode later, Troy had his 2 brain cells came together to think of the idea to make keys from the key mold that we could use as decoys, which he absolutely would have done and we could have used.
Smorp. Smorsh.
Well, we escaped that situation by the skin of our teeth and a good roll of Julia's dice. I'm sure it won't come back to bite us in any way.
I mean, her memory's modified. We're fine. We're good for the time being.
I did give her a poison potion, so either that's going to go super well or super bad.
I wonder which. It'll be.
I'm excited. We then, of course, arrive outside, sort of outskirts of like the city surrounding the compost facility. We investigate the cave, and naturally, Julia, Umbi just jumps right in.
Yeah. Well, first off, Brandon really wanted to use Bartlett so badly.
I'm really sorry. I know it pained me.
Yeah.
Everyone has their box in which they can operate. And the parrot's box is very small.
You also just wanted to send a letter that was you up. And I was like, who is he going to think this is from? What does he think is going to happen?
What is the Kid Cervantes says, yeah.
What response were you looking for?
Well, then you drive over to their apartment and you have a
we don't know where his apartment
booty
is.
call.
And then you
Julia, a booty call because pirates. Do you get it?
Yeah, I got it.
It's pretty good.
Thanks.
Let Brandon cook.
Let
Brandon
cook. Put me in the
cook.
kitchen where I belong.
The cooking has to work mechanically, though. That's all I'm saying. You can't say let him cook and the gas isn't on.
Yeah, I knew that Brandon wanted to use Bartlett. Brandon uses Bartlett all the time because before I kill myself, I'm going to kill this Frankenstein parrot that I have. Yeah, I know.
I just want to be clear. I post the time where we split up and y'all came back in and I was trying to talk about Bartlett. I was just trying to make good jokes and Eric was not letting me
because
make
you
the jokes.
weren't there.
Not allowed to make jokes when you're not there, Brandon.
That's why I kicked these 2 lovely ladies out of the room.
Can't make a comedy on this comedy podcast.
Not
because
allowed.
of woke.
It's illegal.
Because of woke.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Because of woke.
They banned comedy.
Back in my day, in the first campaign of the Adventure Zone, people were allowed to say shit when they weren't in scenes.
Melanie wants to know, Brandon, was there a moment when you thought the party was officially going to split? How'd you feel about going forward in the cave alone? And Eric, I'd put the same question to you of when you realized, like, well, one character is doing something right now and the other 2 have got to leave.
I don't know if there was a moment, but like, I will admit that I am officially shook after Eric killed Julia's best friend in a very clever ball trap.
Oh,
yeah, bro, me too. That's
Shout out
why I was
Charlie
being
Hayes.
so precious about going down in that cave.
Right. I think that's like got us a little skittish. But pre that, I have been trained and goodly trained in a good way to just like sort of go forward and do the thing and see what happens. I think that's more fun for us and more fun for the show.
Brandon, here's some peanut butter. Don't worry about the pill that's inside of it. Here you go.
Lick, lick, lick.
Lick, 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 lick,
Lick, lick, lick. So yeah, I mean, I was gonna do it regardless.
I just like that I have this new trick in my sleeve where I can kick you out of a room if you guys split the party.
Yeah.
I think that just makes everything work better.
It's fun.
Because honestly, I think the main thing that keeps people from being this skittish and from allowing a party to be split is, one, not punishing, and I guess I don't have a better word than punishing, but punishing in a way that you punish someone in a fighting game when they make a mistake, where it's like doing a punish to remind people that Dungeons & Dragons is set up as a party game. So if you have only one person by themselves, they will be overwhelmed. That is the whole point of the thing. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, I can learn the plot and not have my character be in any danger. I can just sit there, make jokes, stick around without any skin in the game. So taking that away, I honestly would rather take that away than do a punish.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's always felt kind of unfair to me for like multiple people to weigh in on somebody's turn when when in the fiction, especially I think me as somebody who like was the least experienced coming to this show, that I felt like I was missing things during my turn or during initiative especially. And it's like in the situation, you just go ahead and do the thing that you think is best. And y'all are very generous about like giving me ideas, and Eric for letting me do that. But I always like held myself back, being like, no, like Troy's not going to yell across the battlefield. Like, what should I do now? And so it feels so true to life and also exciting for us. Like Julia and me got to listen to that part of the episode just like the rest of you, which was super exciting. So it really spices things up and feels truer and feels like the stakes are higher. And I'm a huge fan of whenever that happens.
To your point, though, Amanda, like if we were like, let's say, living in the fiction there, like if Cammy saw something behind you, behind Troy, that was like, oh, well, if you pull that lever, the chandelier is going to fall on all those enemies. Like Cammy would point those out. So it's not like a matter of like,
for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, here are my 2, abilities, or like I have 5 key points left, and these are the things that I can spend them on. Like, what do you guys think?
Yeah.
So there's absolutely some gray zone. I did want to say just a little bit earlier, and I'm jumping around a touch, but I was struck with a strong bolt of inspiration. People should ship Lucky Edie and Emily Slaughter. I think they're bringing similar energies to these campaigns, and I just think that big sword, many knives is a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
No, Emily Slaughter's too busy girl bossing. She's not dating anybody.
Yeah, that's fair.
Except for interdimensional.
It's a full-time
That's
job.
her girlfriend in Canada / Camp-Paign 3.
Exactly. All right. Here's a question from Colin Ray. How sad are the players / characters going to be with Umbi's inevitable passing? How relieved will Eric be?
Well, like I said, where do you think our new companion's gonna come from? He's gonna show up on a ship. Like, that was honestly, I was so pleased with that joke. It's very silly.
It was really funny.
We're gonna keep rolling it because I like it. I hope Umbi doesn't die in his sleep.
I hope he doesn't die in his sleep. I hope he dies in a different way.
It's a 1 in 100 chance, guys. We're good.
Julia, he's rolled below 5 many times, which I realize statistically is not closer to 0 than any of the other rolls, but hot damn.
I think it's funnier when characters like Umbi do just die peacefully in their sleep. I think that's funnier.
I agree. I just don't want it to be the second to last episode.
That'd be perfect closure. I don't know. And then the ghost of Umbi. We reanimate Umbi's corpse for a short amount of time.
I mean, what's his face does have Havana has Lazarus Bolt, I think, or something like that.
Havana has that thing where you can bring somebody back from life who's like died for like a minute.
Revivify.
Yeah, revivify. No, you have Lazarus Bolt is where you turn someone into Frankenstein's monster.
That's cool though. I'm kind of into that.
No, I love Umbi. Umbi's my favorite NPC. I don't know what you're talking about.
Incredible.
Can I also say I really appreciated the yes end from that episode as well, which is like, oh yeah, we have sending and it's 25 words, but it's always going to be 23 words because we have to finish with love you.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for that.
Can I also say I appreciated the yes and when I was trying to tell a joke and Eric told me no.
You're not allowed to be in a scene that you're not in, Brandon.
It was incredibly funny.
You push your way into scenes all the time. You're like, and then Bartlett is self-aware and says, Brock? I'm like, shut the fuck up. I'm holding my stance. I'm holding my stance on that. Where I said, Brandon, shut up.
It's the engine that drives the podcast forward. Let's not kid ourselves.
It is.
Incredible. But Julia, you mentioned sending. For me, it was an incredibly chilling moment when you got the static of sending that message down. And we're still not clear on exactly what kinds of magic work and what kinds don't, why, and what the limits are. Absolutely terrifying. Eric, how dare you?
It stresses me the fuck out knowing that again, we don't know the extent in which my magic is limited, but knowing that your magic is limited as a magic user is like the most bone-chilling thing that a DM can do to you, because you're just sitting there being like, I planned for everything except for the idea that my spells won't fucking work.
Yeah. It was something I was thinking about what was going on in this town, and we'll obviously be exploring it more and more. But it's like, this is set up as a prison. There is a trick mouth that you can. There is a way for you to enter, but it's certainly a hard way to get out. Maybe they didn't think of everything, but they certainly thought of everything. And it's like, all right, well, they would obviously have a way to keep magic users from using magic. They're trying to think of a way to keep people from like stabbing each other and from people using their powers or whatever they have down here to on top of like systematically making everyone's life shitty. They're thinking about it on a day-to-day basis as well. So it's like, I don't like necessarily taking people's stuff away just because they've leveled up high. That's not what I'm doing. It's like, they were in like a you can't do shit situation.
Yeah.
And you got to make sure to honor that. Like, what, you walk into a maximum security prison, then you walk out? Like, no, absolutely not. There was a lot of like action movie stuff that I was thinking about, when we're talking about, I was thinking about Face Off, the movie where John Travolta and Nick Cage switch faces.
Naturally.
The whole thing in there is that like people are locked into like ankle bracers that are magnetized, and that's how they're kept in the prison. And I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. The prison makers are yes, it's an action movie, so it's like 80s prison makers. They're flexing because they want to show how powerful they are by taking away everything from these people in the most stylish way possible. So that's like, if you're going to do that, why? Like, it's not enough to be like, a wizard has an anti-magic shield, unless you have a really good reason why. They saw them coming, they had enough time to prepare, then they step into a situation. And like, a prison is the ultimate, I have time to prepare to make everyone inside miserable and powerless.
And apparently a shitload of money, because this prison has a lot of things we don't know about, a lot of things that imperil us, and a lot that might imperil us very, very soon. But first, players, let me just nip into the kitchen and grab some more miniature pizza rolls.
Minis! I could fit so many in my mouth.
Hello, everybody. It's Amanda, and welcome to the mid-roll. This is so much fun. I am loving this arc so far. So much is happening, and we are very, very happy to be answering your questions and talking all about it, including, by the way, some really cool speculation about what is happening with this dragon and with this prison at the very end of this episode. So stick around. Welcome, first and foremost, to our newest patrons, Lee, Gus, and Jessica, 2/3 of whom joined as annual patrons, which gives you a discount and is super helpful for us as well, because we have the money up front and we can see how much we're going to get paid each month for the next 12 months. Very helpful. Thank you for committing your human dollars each month or once a year to a podcast that presumably you look forward to and makes your Tuesdays a little bit better. If you would like to join us as well, you can follow us for free on Patreon. But more importantly, if you become a paying patron, you get to join the best place on the internet, which is our patron-only Discord, and you get our every other week party planning, which you have little excerpts previews of here on this feed, but you get the audio and even video versions of party planning, plus ad-free episodes of Join the Party. Join today and discover it all at patreon.com/jointhepartypod. Here at Multitude, it is one of my favorite weeks of the year. It is when we launch our annual summer survey. This is where we ask for your feedback on how we can improve our shows and our community. You get to tell us what you like about the show, things that you think we could be doing better, cities you want us to visit, events you wish Multitude were at, guests you want to see, and here for Join the Party, the kind of merch that you would like to see us make, and even if you care if we play D&D on this show, or if other actual play systems and TTRPGs make you even more excited. So you can tell us now everything you've ever wanted to say about Multitude and our shows at multitude.productions/survey, or click the link in the description and share your thoughts with us. It works great on mobile. It only takes about 10 minutes, and you will see some adorable photos of our pets at the end of the survey. That's multitude.productions/survey. And thank you so much to every single person who fills it out. It really helps us. We love it. We are sponsored this week by Shaker and Spoon, a subscription cocktail service that helps you learn how to make handcrafted cocktails right at home. Every box comes with all of the ingredients, like custom syrups and like little adorable spritz bottles where you can like spritz, a bit of like oil or aerosol right onto your cocktail glass. Weird, like in a loving way, weird spices that I would never buy for myself, and even the sort of citrus or herbs that you need to make incredible cocktails, and they help you learn to make great drinks. That is what you do. They teach you great skills. They send you great stuff like incredible high quality mixers, things like chocolate to grate over your drink, or I don't know, like incredible cool dried like bits of persimmon. Honestly, incredible. We really love Shaker and Spoon. They're an incredible group of people. And by the way, you can even go to their website, shakerandspoon.com, and shop their store. You can make more. If you love one of their syrups or bitters or extracts, you can buy it a la carte so that you have it to make on an ongoing basis. And the best part, in my opinion, is while you can make a subscription plan, you can also buy a one-off box for yourself or as a gift. They make it really, really easy to do it. So you can get $20 off your first box by going to shakerandspoon.com/join the party. That's shakerandspoon.com/join the party, where the team at Shaker and Spoon, a fellow local Brooklyn-based family business, were kind enough to make a promo code just for you. shakerandspoon.com/join the party. And now let's get back to the show. Well, folks, I hope you are enjoying this and Eric's homemade ranch ice cream.
Ranch
ice cream. That's crazy.
I was nervous about it, but quite good.
I tried my best. Guys, I can make ice cream now. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Real quick, Eric, are you sort of yay or nay on the idea of a blackberry ice cream, given recent events?
Oh, no, I love blackberries. Blackberries are great. I am super into blackberries. I would love to do blackberry ice cream. Though we made a sorbet for you, and I'm really feeling these sorbets. Because the whole thing about the ice cream maker is that it has to harden eventually. You got to put it in the freezer to make it turn into like hard ice cream. So it has like the soft serve consistency if you use milk and cream. But for sorbet, it has like this granita consistency, and it's fucking awesome.
It's really good.
Just like this loose, icy sort of vibe, and I honestly like that so much.
What flavor did you make?
I used the remaining cherries for a cherry sorbet because I was using cherries for the cherry Garcia that I made for Eddie's birthday.
It's honestly like cherry lemon because the lemon juice really came through.
Yeah, we did less. We did less sugar, and Amanda's juicer is really, really good. So we got a lot of lemon juice out of the one lemon we used.
Nice.
Right on. Speaking of blackberries, Jaya, another doctor who listens to Join the Party, there's lots of you, are there green folk who are blackberries and green folk who are blackberry bushes? Or are there individual blackberries as babies who grew up into full bushes? Do both exist at the same time? And it's a don't worry about it situation.
Both exist at the same time. I think it's funny that because of the striations that I've made in green folk, I think it's funnier if there's produce people and then there's greenery people, which is infinitely funnier. Because I think greenery people also are allowed to be different shapes. Like
the big rambling strawberry guy on the beach.
Yes, exactly. Or like the trees like Salix, or the number of times we've had like yard by yard squares.
grass, cranberry,
the cranberry bog
hedges.
guy,
The
yeah.
cranberry bog, the hedges, the grasses. Yes.
It would be really cool if humans could like I love this idea of like sort of not like body modification, but like the same way that you could go get a haircut and change your hairstyle, if you could change like the shape or the arrangement of your body as like an expression of your fashion.
That'd be cool.
You know?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
It'd
I
be
like
very
that.
cool.
I also think that it's kind of similar. I liked Jaya's suggestion that it's like you start as a single blackberry and then you grow into a blackberry bush. But as we established, like with Troy was never a caterpillar. Troy was born a butterfly.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
There's Kakunas out there, like Kakuna Greenfolk, you know?
Like the Pokemon.
Do they harden?
Yeah, like Metapod and Kakuna ones.
So good. Why can't Kangaskhan's throw Kakunas like boomerangs? That should be allowed.
Amanda? That's a fucking good question, and I like that idea a lot.
Thank you.
So.
Y'all will hear very soon that all of Multitude is into ROM hacks right now, so I'm sure there is a fusion.
Hand check.
Yeah, like a fusion ROM hack where you can, in fact, have a Kangaskhan and throw a Metapod.
Hell yeah.
The Kangaskhan should be allowed to throw its baby and then have be like a tool
Yeah.
fighter like the Ice Climbers at least.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Eric? Don't throw babies.
Yeah, but Cubone's got that hard skull. They're okay.
Cubones,
No,
sure.
the Kangaskhan babies
It'll
eventually become Cubones, but out of
When their mother
tragedy,
dies,
but for
yes.
tragedies, yeah.
Yes. Well,
Well, you should have why aren't there combos if you use Pokemon together in double battles?
there should be.
There should be.
There should be.
That's a good question. I think
Yeah.
there should be.
Get on it, Game Freaks, and also fix your games. Make them better, please. I really like the Blackberry Dragon. I'm really happy about it. I was really stoked to set it up, and being able to set it up in stages, like you guys coming from the top, and then Umbi and Kid Cervantes and the Cervantes siblings being on the bottom. I was very excited to set that up in a different way. I've been thinking about dragons in this different way because I had bought the field guide to floral dragons from Hit Point Press a little while ago.
Ooh.
It was a Kickstarter for a while, and they just sent me the PDF right when I was prepping for these episodes.
Perfect.
So there's a lot of really interesting stuff. It's all mostly for flowers, but just seeing like different configurations of dragons like this, I'm like, oh, this can work. So it's like, all right, the blackberry thing are the thorns, and then the fact that it has vacuuming powers is just kind of on top of it to set the scene. So being able to think about dragons as like medium-sized to extra large. I wanted one that was really big, to feel like it was larger than life. And that was certainly like a really nice thing to help pull the whole situation together and then make the map.
You've always been quite creative in like the foes and I don't even want to call them monsters, creatures that we encounter. Is something about a dragon, the titular Durblin and Durblin, like does that feel extra special? Do you feel yourself like not reaching for a dragon because it is so like the big bad that it takes, you know, a huge party forever to defeat?
Yeah, I just think that there's a lot of baggage, like mythologically, with the dragon that I can be like freed if it's something else.
And Benedict Cumberbatch is so expensive to
Yeah.
get to voice the dragons.
Just so
So
expensive.
it's really, you know, you have to really be judicious about when you bring them on. So
I know he has all those styrofoam balls on him, and I'm like, Benny, get out of here. And he always wants a dollar slice from Peter Parker. But no, it's like I wanted to set this thing up as a trap, so having something very recognizably powerful is always something like I only reach for it if it's going to be in a special situation. And again, it's like wanting it to fit in the map as it did. Yeah. So you guys are afraid of like my dragon and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my god,
but
I was
it's a
so
scary
scared.
dragon.
Like the word dragon, I don't think I've encountered a dragon in RPGs since like episode 5 of Camp-Paign 1, where there was like an ice dragon. I think in the or crystal dragon that we encountered very briefly. So oh my god, it's terrifying. It feels like a thing that's like impossible to beat. It's amazing.
I love them. I want to be best friends. Anytime I see a dragon, I always think like, in what scenario am I going to be able to get a leash, like a leash and collar on this one and take him for a
Well,
walk?
half
you
that's
know?
been done for you. We have
Yeah.
a collar.
That's true. It's true.
I think too big.
Yeah,
Tammy's
really
personal
rich.
thought, too big.
It's really rich coming from the player who was virulently against keeping big cats for pets in last Friday's party planning.
Yeah.
Because it's bad for the cats.
Well,
look, if I weren't allergic and if it weren't bad for the kitties, I would love to have a tiger, and if it wouldn't kill me.
But what if you're what if
part
you
of it.
are Brennan? Have you ever tested if you're allergic to jaguar? You should test that to ocelot.
I mean, anytime I'm close to one in a zoo, I get itchy. So yeah.
oh man.
You shouldn't be that close that you're getting itchy from a
that's
jaguar.
well, that's because you're getting itchy because you want to jump into the enclosure.
Yes, that's a different. That's different.
Oh, right. Okay, you're right. You're right.
It's joking.
Boop.
EP Fellow would like to know, players, how do we feel about finally finding Kid? Since if you save him, you get the key. You're likely reaching the end of the campaign. How do you feel about that?
Well, one, I think it's a who can say,
Yeah.
but in terms of the end of the campaign,
Genuinely,
we
yeah.
don't know.
We don't.
Yeah.
I mean, we even if we have 4 keys, we still have to find the salmon, and that we don't know how long it will take.
We also don't know where the key with the gaze is, so that's
Yeah.
fucked.
We really should have put a tracking device on him, huh?
It was a little bit chaotic when we last saw him, so
Yeah, there was a lot happening.
Yeah, then they ran away as lovers, so they were busy.
I feel great about finding Kid. Kid's my favorite character. I want to be Kid. I want to learn from Kid. I want to be his sidekick. Me, Brandon, I'm talking about
Sure.
now. And he's cool and badass.
Archie's right there, Brandon. Why would you do this to poor Archie?
Have you met Archie? He's a little bit of a pill, you know?
More like
not
pill
quite as
bug,
fun of a
right?
hang.
I know no one talks about how Katniss Everdeen is kind of fucking boring.
She is all work and no play, you know. Helen, Book Queen 01 wants to know, do any players have theories around what the compost facility is as we're partway through the arc?
I'm gonna part the curtain a little bit. We're not that far ahead, but even the little bit far ahead we are, I still don't fucking know.
Yeah, it was surprising to me that this town was not like a holding zone, but the prison itself. And so that's where Amanda and Troy are coming from, is like, oh, this must be the prison, huh? And then figuring out a little bit more about what it could be powering. That's the main thing that my brain is turning over, is like, I understand that Eric has been kind of dropping some breadcrumbs about like what the fluid is that we're in, how it's keeping folks alive a little bit longer. Umbi saw the sign that then Amanda and Julie got to learn about when the episode came out, that, it's also about composting you, about mulching you, using your bodies. And to me, that's like, what is it fertilizing? My gardening brain coming in. What is it producing? What is it fueling? And I don't know yet.
Right.
I also had a thought re-listening to the most recent episode for the transcript, and I'll have to share it with you guys in a private chat at some point. And then I don't know if it'll solve any of the problems that we're facing right now, but I'm like, is this anything? It's a lot of that. It's a lot of me being like, what do I know about plants? Is this anything?
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Well, that's what I keep going back to, is like, I don't know how literal I should take the word mulch. Because, like, on the one hand, I think the common usage of the word mulch is, like, not that specific, right? But then you're married to Amanda, so you know what mulch
I
is.
do know.
And, like, what it does and what it's for. And so, like...
I call him, I say, excuse me, Eric, I'm downstairs 2 flights below our apartment, and I have a 30-pound bag of mulch. Help?
Help?
So, like, there's a couple things that mulch could do. The number one is, like, weed suppression, right? Or, like, moisture retention and weed suppression. But then 2, like, eventually it does become fertilizer once you, mix it into the soil and stuff. So, like, I don't know. I don't know what it is.
And the fact that it's compost, but it's not compost, like that.
Right.
I've also gotten to the point where, because of what you did to us in the first arc, anytime you introduce a word, I Google it to see if it's like anything.
Yeah, I was surprised that compost was not a acronym.
Yeah.
Acronym.
Just a
Yeah.
cool word.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like DK Crew.
DK Crew.
No.
DK Crew.
No, now I have to do the rap.
Well, my name is Donkey Kong, and I'm here to say...
DK. Diamond Knot.
I love
DK.
bananas. They're my favorite fruit.
We conspire together to hurt people.
DK.
DK.
I've also had this thing in the back of my mind ever since we first sailed up upon the prison that when Eric and I were on our honeymoon in Norway, we went on a tour of the fjords, which are like a cul-de-sac of the ocean. They're like a little bay made of ocean water, but like surrounded by mountains or at least land. And they were absolutely beautiful. And at one point, like near the end of the tour, they were like, "Oh yeah, and that's the World War II submarine dock." And we were like, "Excuse me?"
I didn't know that. That's cool.
We passed by a mountain with literally just like, tunnels, like a railway tunnel or a car tunnel that's just like one tunnel bore into a mountain, just like a semicircular hole.
Yeah, like a cartoon style one.
Exactly, yeah. That's all you could see. And they're like, yeah, that. They spent millions and millions of kroner, making a sort of bomb-proof, like World War II secret underwater dock for NATO or whatever, like during the wars. And then it got decommissioned, and then someone tried to buy it, make it private. That didn't work very well. Okay, moving on. And then they showed us on the screen, like on the boat, like a picture of the inside of this facility, and it is true horror movie shit. It is incredible. So I've been thinking about that and being like, what the hell is inside of there?
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's called Olavsfjorden. It is a decommissioned Royal Norwegian Navy base located right outside of Tromsø, which is where Amanda and I went on our honeymoon. And it's just like a tunnel and a mountain in the Arctic Circle. It is the single craziest thing. It took 4 billion kroner to burrow into this mountain just so that we could like have a base in the Arctic Circle to fight the Nazis, I guess.
Sure.
That's awesome.
It's very cool. So yeah, that was my inspiration for that. I've also been thinking a lot about, I really like point and click adventure games, and I think that's how the best like self-contained arcs of Dungeons and Dragons, or most tabletop RPGs should be, is like focus in on a specific setting, really flesh out a few small things in this one place, and then let people like take objects from and information from different places and combine it together. I've also been thinking a lot about this because Julie and I went on Escape This Pod again, the second time we've done it, and it's a podcast where they run like a actual play style escape room for you, and we were talking about how you can have a balance between there is no solution, players can come up with whatever they own, or literally having a solution and running it like an escape room, and it can be different as long as you like stick to your guns. Like, don't scuttle your plans just because you like what someone else did if you actually have plans, and don't make people figure out exactly the plan of what you're doing if you didn't do a good enough job in setting it up. Like, let people just come up with funny shit. Like that time Amanda put boobs into a keypad
and
lock.
you said, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. I'm like, I didn't have a solution, so you just did it. So congratulations.
He said, let her cook.
So it's been fun setting up, like, if I'm going to, like, do this, I'm going to make a map, I'm going to have locations, and I want you guys to dig into this area and really kind of learn things from it and see if you can combine stuff to figure out your ultimate goal, which is, 1, not get eaten by the Blackberry Dragon, and 2, get out.
Listen, I think if Troy got it, he'd be like, good reconnaissance opportunity.
As he's dissolving
until the moment
acid.
He dies. Yeah.
Oh, Troy.
Troy's like, I bet there's a prize inside, and then he dies.
What's in the tub? And then that's Troy's last words. Yeah.
Pretend I said this a few minutes ago. Was the person who tried to buy it named Clark Kent?
Brandon, I don't understand.
Brandon, what?
The ice cave. That's his cave of wonder or whatever.
Solitude.
Actually, some Russian oligarchs bought it, and then Norway was uncomfortable with Russia having a base of operations that was literally a secret military base and kicked them out.
Interesting.
I actually that now that I'm looking at it, that they did that. They went to that in an episode of Top Gear, and they talked about that. Exactly.
Oh yes,
they did. They did. It's very cool.
Yeah. Here's a funny quote from Norwegian retired Vice Admiral Jan Rexton, a former military second-in-command, stating, Russia is a country where the state has say over all commercial or semi-state business. It's clear very few people knows what happens on these vessels. The sale of Olavsfjorden was a double loss, as Norway's armed forces lost an important base, and now there's Russian vessels docked there.
Whoops.
Oops.
Our bad.
So yeah, then they bought back 66% of the stock in the holding group that the Russian company had. They bought it back in 2019.
Business is too complicated. Can I just say that?
I just hate bringing business into like secret army base. Like, just keep it secret army base.
It feels like a thing that should not be privatized.
Yeah.
Agreed.
What happened to good old, I have fur, you trade me fiat currency, and that's it.
Imperialism.
If it's not an expansion of Settlers of Catan, I'm not interested.
If I don't give sheep for wood, what are we doing here?
I actually just read a great book set in that area of Norway, which like touches land with Russia
You're
and
going to
stuff.
say
Is
Settlers of
Catan?
Catan.
I thought you were going to say Catan. as
Oh,
well.
no. I haven't really been craving playing Settlers of Catan, though.
We
so
can play Settlers of Catan.
that'd be great. Eric and I have started playing Mario Party at home together. It's been very fun. But no, the in the book, so set in like 1850s Norway, and a bunch of Sami reindeer herders were like, "What do you mean this is Russia now? This is where the reindeer go. Like we can't not take the reindeer there just because you say it's Russia."
Yeah.
All right, and then finally, guys, before we get into some broader podcast and game questions, we have a question in from Instagram. Was the tumbleweed green folk always supposed to be there, and they just beat you to the joke?
Yeah, I had already come up with Bramble.
Ah, shit.
Bramble was going to
Cool.
give you the map.
Fair
It
enough.
was just funny to have a tumbleweed double by.
When you came up with Bramble, was he a tumbleweed or was he like a bramble? Like some sort of like collection of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, he was a tumbleweed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, ironically, a bramble is another name for a blackberry. So, like,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Ah.
Yeah.
it's all connected, baby.
Weird. I don't know. I don't know what you're
It's all
talking about.
connected.
I don't know what you mean.
Wow.
Wow.
Here's a question from Rainstorms, the Birch Boy. Given the recent revelation in regards to the giant bialy, the salmon, and the lox, like both locks and locks, both spellings, does that make onions and capers the holiest of the green folk?
It does.
Yeah, they're all priests.
They're all
The
priests.
closer to the bagel, the closer to God. That's what I always say.
Yep.
Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, whatever you guys said.
Okay.
That's fine.
This is getting a little bit outside of Vertistello, but I do think it's still important to join the party of the podcast. So this came in hot and fresh this morning as of this recording from Plate, actually a druid. They say,
Ooh, it's hot. Ooh, it's hot. Ooh.
They say, fun fact, the state park by me has a lot of stone walls crisscrossing it, and there's one spot in particular that has old foundations, defunct post lights, chimneys, etc., and I always wondered what used to be there. Friends, I found out recently from one of the rangers, it's a former Jewish summer camp. If I find even one single watermelon seedling out there, I will never set foot in these woods again. Eric, do you care to comment?
Happy summer. Go listen to the campaign.
I was literally, before you read the second part, I was like, oh, that's the entrance to to the like fantasy portal, or whatever
Yes.
it is.
That's how you get to Narnia, is through there.
Yeah.
James
Yeah, bro.
McAvoy, Mr. Tumnus, will be waiting around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Keep forgetting that James McAvoy was Mr.
I will
Tumnus,
never
and I
let
hate
you
that.
forget. I will never let you forget.
That's true friendship right there.
James McAvoy actually plays Steven in the
They
Camp-Paign.
mocap him?
No,
That's
it's the
wild.
cartoon adaptation of
So he's the voice. Got
of
it.
the campaign, yeah.
Or, Eric, can I pitch you? It's the cartoon adaptation, but they green screen in James McAvoy in a skeleton suit, in a black suit that just has skeletons painted, bones.
Yeah, no, actually, that's better. I like that.
Photorealistic skeleton in Gravity Falls-esque animation.
Yes, exactly. It's transmedia, guys.
Ooh, I love it. It's Pride Month after all.
Yeah, happy
Happy
Pride.
Pride.
Love it. Happy Pride. Eric, we also had a question.
Transmedia rights now. Okay, go ahead.
We also had a question come in from Instagram asking, can you add cooking segments like Delicious in Dungeon, please? That's the question, more of a request.
You know what? We already have those when you let Amanda cook.
You guys should really subscribe to Party Planning because it's pretty close.
It
We
is.
just talk about food 50% of the time on our Patreon-only podcast.
It's because I'm hungry all the time.
That's true.
Do you think if there are other intelligent aliens out there, they spend half their time talking about like how much they like their bloop blorps, or
I wonder if I've thought about this recently because there are always Tumblr posts that goes on. It's like, an alien meets humans. And it's like, what do you mean some of your food you put more energons in and some of your food you take energons away? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean? So I wonder if it has something to do with the specific chemical makeup of Earth and how our science works. In terms of temperature, like our thermodynamics, and then also how humans like hot and cold things at different times. Like, I don't think so. I think we're the only ones who care about cooking.
I think it depends on whether or not other aliens are carbon-based life forms or not.
exactly like if they're not carbon based, are they equally as obsessed with food but it's like, yeah, silicon molecules or whatever.
No one talks about how the Goldilocks principle not only works for oxygen, but also involves whether or not you like cold pizza.
That's true.
Get Dr. McTeer on it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So a few questions, folks, about like us as people here. This has been in the hopper for a little while. It's been fermenting like great sauerkraut, getting good. From a Cosmodot, links to a TikTok, which I will summarize for you now. The TikTok is from Grumpy Gimli, posted in April 2024, and says, essentially, I've been thinking about this one for a while and want to know what stat bonuses the state you live in can give you. For example, Florida people being innately built like a tank. And so
I don't think that's what Florida gives you, but okay.
A Cosmodot says, based on the TikTok, what stats do you have from the places you're from or currently live? I think New Yorkers are going to have a +2 to walking speed.
Absolutely, they are.
I was going to say you get a +2 to intimidation as a New Yorker.
That's pretty good.
I think that you innately have water vehicle proficiency if you're from Long Island.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are places that like you get born and then it's like, here's your boating license. It's like Long Island, the Outer Banks, wherever,
Louisiana,
the
probably,
Ozarks.
yeah.
Yeah. So I would give that for sure to Long Islanders. Upstate, I think that I know where leaves are turning at any time.
Mm-hmm.
I know where fall is happening, and I feel like, and I have like a good relationship with trees. I think me and trees we're tight.
Yeah. I think for Seattleites or Western Washingtonites, you get like a +3 to waterproof.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yes. And then, folks, spoil the plank, usually a quick one, but I actually do have 2 questions that I think, I'm not certain whether any of you will have answers to it. So let's put it in spoil the plank. If you have answers, feel free to say them. And if not, we'll push them over the plank over there.
Toy.
From the question surgeon.
Are we killing these questions? Are we pushing them off the plank? Or are they just on the plank?
Yeah.
Oh,
All the
no.
questions have to walk the plank.
Yeah.
They've been walking the plank the whole time.
It's not
Oh,
guaranteed
no.
that you die if you walk the plank.
Brandon, this is like you learned where our meat comes from.
I learned
Brandon, it's a pirate campaign. We have to murder some people.
From the question surgeon. Was the city sunk on purpose by the Diamond Knot, or was South Compost already down there?
We don't know.
We don't know.
My guess is that it was flooded. That's been my assumption.
Yeah, because it's
On
almost like
purpose.
if the hold had been taken over by the Diamond Knot and then flooded, in the sense that I think the village or the town existed first and then was taken over and repurposed.
That's also the vibe I'm getting. And again, maybe it's this Norwegian, ex-Russian, and now 2/3 Norwegian once more naval base. But I am really wondering, like, what the purpose of this was. Is this like a dragon's lair that they somehow subdued and chained the dragon? And, there was just a village outside of it and then they flooded it. Was it like a mine? Was it some kind of facility? Like the town around it was definitely described to us as, purpose-built for, the staff and the people who support the town there. But I think South Compost was absolutely pre-existing, certainly the Diamond Knot, and probably the dragon living so close.
I suppose it's also possible that it was a town that was existing or a city or whatever it is, and then this dragon showed up and started destroying things, and so everyone left, and then they were like, oh, this area's just ripe for our taking,
I think the dragon has been weaponized and would not live there and try to vacuum up the people around it twice a day if it wasn't forced.
Yeah.
That's a fair point, but Amanda, when you see dogs on the street, you're like, that dog's being weaponized. So
Eric,
your first thought of seeing an animal is that a dog, and it is being weaponized against you.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to see police dogs and put all boys are good boys with all cops are bad. It's just it's like an immovable force, or it's an unstoppable force and immovable object.
ABAB versus ACAB is tough.
I like
tough.
to think of police dogs as freelancers, so it makes it a little bit easier for me,
That's good.
No, I was thinking about like a pug on the street, just like someone has a pug.
It is a weapon against me and
yes,
wherever
it's a weapon
I'm going.
against you. Yeah, that it's like, oh, now I'm gonna be late to my meeting because I have been distracted by this dog.
Well, this is my day now.
I don't think that Amanda would be allergic to the blackberry dragon, though. So that's a win.
Well, that's because she's been biohacked. So I'm allergic to the blackberry dragon.
I just
but
don't think it has
not.
dander.
But if it were an allium,
I'm out.
what's a small dragon called? Are they just, what are the little familiar dragons called?
They're called
Dragons?
like drakelings? No. Oh my
Doesn't
god,
matter.
hold on.
Wormlings.
No.
But if it were like a garlic dragon, then Amanda, you're fucked.
Yeah,
A
just
pseudo dragon.
throw me to them because I'm not coming back out.
Pseudo dragons aren't really dragons. They look like dragons, but they're called that by wizards who are like, yeah, fuck yeah, that dude's my familiar, and I get to call him a dragon.
Yes.
They're just like flying. They're just flying lizards.
Same.
Let me come on your show. Actually.
If the dragon doesn't come from the specific region, it's just a flying lizard.
It's a sparkling lizard.
You're right. You're right. You're so right. Tweet to at Dropout TV and let them know that Eric should be on. Actually.
I want to be on too.
And secondly, from Melanie, do you guys miss playing your old characters? Have you considered revisiting past campaigns? What are you feeling about one day maybe playing a new game, for example, Monster of the Week, but with your old characters? And guys, this was a ruse. The Multitude survey is out. Go to multitude.production/survey and give us your opinions about how you like different kinds of games, what you want us to play, and where you would come to new live shows. All right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I got rused.
I always love hearing about what y'all want to see from us. And this is also a ruse to say that you can also buy the VODs at jointhepartypod.com/live
Yeah.
of previous campaigns.
That was fun. Yeah, I also, just speaking of the survey, we've had the question a lot of like, would you like it if we played another game other than Dungeons & Dragons? And I feel like that question is more prescient than anything as Wizard of the Coast is pivoting to like D&D being fully online and being closer to League of Legends than it is anything else. So it's certainly, like, we're probably going to do that anyway, but I want to know what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, your feedback is what had us do Camp Diogenes and the Camp-Paign because we saw your excitement for us to try different systems and also a shorter length campaign.
Yeah. But yes, I do miss our old characters. They're very good and fun.
Yeah, I do. It was really fun to play them on tour. And if we do another tour, and if we do go to places where other people are and new Join the Party folks can come see us in person, maybe we'll get to revisit them again.
Wow.
Who knows?
Maybe.
Maybe. All right, everybody, we did some good work here today. We're going to put back on our diving suits, go back into the underwater prison, but this time our bubbles are filled with little pizza bites.
I can't breathe pizza bites. No.
You can breathe in there. That was the whole thing of Umbi huffing poppers. Is that you can breathe in there. So you can be eating pizza bites while also being in the liquid. It's fine.
I prefer to think of it as like the Valhalla gold chrome spray from Mad Max.
That's like the same thing.
That's literally a
Mad
popper.
Max poppers.
Yeah, but like one is like cool, you know?
That's true. And
Brandon just wants his poppers to be cool, Eric.
Yeah.
Have you considered?
That's true. Brandon, your poppers can be whatever you want them to be. That's fine.
Thank you.
Happy Pride, folks.
Happy Pride.
Transmedia rights.
We love to hear it. All right, everybody. We are so stoked to talk about this after party with you on Discord, on social media. We're Join the Party Pod over there. Eric and Bren and Maddie have been working hard on all kinds of cute clips. I didn't really expect that about half of them would be Brandon shenanigans, but Brandon has a very TikTok-sized shenanigans, so that I've been pleasantly surprised at each week's clip. It's been a ton of fun. So go ahead and follow us there and send them to your friends.
Yeah.
You get them on YouTube too.
Do it.
Hurry. Well, we will see you next week with a brand new episode. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.
May your rolls trend ever upward.
I'll sing you a song that all green folk know. Until